Yeah, okay, let's just go ahead and do it. It is the Project Game Day postgame show, and the Ravens are going about to be 1-3, and it's somehow worse than that. And we'll go through all of the reasons why it's somehow worse than that. It's everybody's hurt, and they got their ass kicked, and there'll be a word that'll probably be thrown around at some point, and we'll discuss it that involves the letter Q, and I'm not comfortable with saying it, but I understand why others will. It's that bad. It's that unfathomable. Today's show, hey, fun times, is brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER and helpmygamblingproblem.org. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, give them a call for free confidential services. Reed will be with us in a second. Tyus is here. Steck is here. And I guess I'm going to let KZ start, but I might. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to let him start, and then immediately I'm going to, if it goes off the rails, I'm going to shut it down. KZ, your first thoughts.
This is a very poorly coached football team. And this isn't about what the score is because everybody all NFL teams have injuries and look, the Ravens have a bunch of them and they were missing key guys. There's two starters at defensive tackle today, and Ronnie Stanley tried to play and went out, and so they're playing with a beat up offensive line. Humphrey goes out. Roshan goes out. Lamar went tapped out. I don't know what it was. They say it was a hammy. Um, they were playing bad football before that. The offensive philosophy is infinitely stupid. Um, not having Henry in a football game on 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1, I will never understand. I will never understand the love affair with Justice Hill. Good football player. Other teams cheer
I think
on
I think
third and
I
one.
think you're taking anger out on Justice Hill that is
No, 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 no,
misplaced.
no, no.
I think
I think
I think
Justice
you're
Hill's a
angry about
fine.
something else
No,
and you're
no, no,
taking it out
no.
on Justice
He's a
Hill.
fine football player. He should never be on the field in 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 when you have Derrick
That's
Henry.
a different conversation.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's just like I'm just saying the coach's love affair with him. Like any third down and fourth down, and I don't understand it. I don't understand the philosophy. I don't understand so many things, and I think the team's soft. How's that?
There's nothing in there that I'm going to yell or scream about or push back dramatically about. I'm going to let Stecca have his say, and then I'm going to point all of these things towards Tyus and get his thoughts. Andrew Stecca, good afternoon.
How you guys doing?
I guess it's
Yeah, I mean,
evening now, Lord.
yeah, sure.
Lord.
As you and Ken both know, I kind of only got to half watch this today, and I'm glad because it's
Maybe we don't
obviously
start with that. Maybe we don't lead with
well,
that.
but this is what everyone was afraid of, you know? I mean, we all
I
talked
don't know
about
if
it.
specifically this is what we were afraid of. I don't know if we were afraid of, and I'll use a different version of the word, gutless. And I'm not uncomfortable saying that word because, I'll let Tyus tell me I'm wrong, but this was gutless.
And I feel like that's saying something, Glenn, because you're not one to use a word like that
Nope,
very often.
I
You're
don't use
pretty
it at all.
measured. And
Yep.
and the scary part about it is I'm the same way you are. I think that's why we get along so well, and I completely agree. Like there's no doubt. You cannot have these kinds of performances and feel like you're a good football team. You're just not right now.
Tyus, tell me if I'm wrong to use that word.
No, I wouldn't say you're wrong. I mean, it was a very poor performance on both sides of the ball. There was a few things on special teams as well that was pretty bad. So I think just overall, it was a very, very ugly day for the Ravens. And I mean, you want to be able to, okay, Justice. See, there you go.
I,
Just you're just talking about justice,
I
and
hear
he come in
Casey.
and
He
score.
heard
Please stop.
Casey.
Please
He
stop.
heard
Please, please,
You want
please,
you want.
please.
I was gonna see if you wanted to say anything else after that, but
Yeah, you could have run through that hole. They're stop playing. It's 37-13. Good
hey,
for him.
hey,
It's not about
regardless,
he's a good football player. He's a good football player. It's not about him. If I came across as it's about him, it's not. They use him too much, and it's not his fault that they ask him to go in on situations he shouldn't be in the football game on. Guys, they have Derrick Henry.
No, I
Derrick
understand.
Henry, he's averaging 7.8 yards a carry, and he's not in the game on 4th and 1 in your own territory. Not even he doesn't even have to get the ball. The other
Yeah,
team is like, oh, I don't have to worry about the RPO or Derrick Henry right now. And
yeah,
then the play call is stupid. Like that's your play call. It's like it's not about Justice Hill. It's about the fact that you have this Hall of Fame running back and this Hall of Fame quarterback, and it's 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 in consecutive possessions. I think it was, and he's not on the field. I don't understand it. And it's not just this year in this game. It happened last year. It happened in playoffs. It's constant with this group of coaches.
yeah. And I think too, it like cuts down the thinking for Kansas City when it comes to figuring out what defense they need to run. Because when you got Derrick Henry in there, now you're gonna have to pay attention to the actual downhill run game. Whereas when he's out, you know kind of what they expect. Either Lamar, they're gonna try to get something going with anybody else, but they DBs has been very well, and the D line has been putting pressure on Lamar. So it just cuts down the thinking that they have to do on defense, which you can't really do that against a really good Kansas City football team, in my opinion. Even though that Baltimore played rough, I still believe that Kansas City is a really good football team, especially once they start getting into the season.
Oh, I agree. And that's why, even if the Ravens were not in the position that they were in, I would have been worried about this football game because I'm still a believer in the Chiefs and I'm still a believer in everything they're doing. But this is as much a story about the Chiefs as it is about the Ravens, at least, unfortunately, at this point. And that's the reality that we can't get around. I feel like everyone is going to want me to yell and scream and be out for blood. And as everybody knows on this panel, I don't do that. It's not who I am. But I do think that this is the type of situation, and it's tough because I don't know if Marlon Humphrey and Roquan Smith are going to be missing time, and I think we all are. I mean, Nnamdi Madubuike is at least missing another 3 weeks, but I think we all believe it's much longer than that. I don't really know that making a change is going to change a whole lot of things if this is as depleted as you're going to be. I had poked around a little bit this week around the league, and I got the sense that the Ravens would prefer to visit the Zach Orr conversation during the bye week, and understandably so. It's when teams tend to want to make decisions like this. I don't think that because we want blood, the Ravens will just assume that they want blood, but I don't know how this gets ignored. And that's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to say because I don't know that it's Zach Orr's fault. I don't know any of those things. But I don't know how you ignore how bad it is. They finally, of course, did force a punt in the closing moments of the game. Until that, they hadn't forced a punt or gotten a turnover the entire game. And I get it. Much of that was played with a lot of guys on the field with a bunch of rookies. I'm trying to be fair in what I'm saying, but Tyus, I'm at a point where I can't defend it either. I can't tell you that I think that you would be silly to have a conversation about whether or not you need to change coordinators.
I mean, when you put up 37, that's rough, especially as a defense. And a lot of it is just based off of misdirection and just having them think out there. And that's the last thing you want to do as a rookie or as a young guy is to have to go out there and think super hard because the game is going by super fast. You already got to figure out what you need to do as far as your position. But then you about to add misdirection, you about to add all the hurry up, all the little stuff that teams like Kansas City can do to just get you off of your feet, get you off of your game. And once you off of your game and they find that out, I mean, you end up with results like this where you're just getting dominated and you just have no way of getting out of it. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a conversation, coming up as far as what to do next. the best way to move, moving forward, especially when you got all of your best guys hurt. You really got to dial into really what you want this defense to be, especially with these young guys. So it's going to be a rough week coming up. So we'll see.
Yeah, to say the least. I want to ask a question, and I'm going to go around the horn with this one. There you go from Jeff Zerbeck. The last time the Ravens were 1-3 was 2015. They finished 5-11. It was the year where Suggs, Flacco, Steve Smith, Justin Forsett, and Pitta. And again, that's going to be coming out of this. There's a lot of questions to be asked, and of course, the loudest question is what's going on with Lamar. And I'm going to ask the question before we get any more of an answer to it, as to what you guys thought in that moment, because we're not doctors and we don't know in any of those things. But I just want to know what was going through your mind. And I will tell you openly that what was going through my mind was Ronnie Stanley's out of the game. The defense is we know what's happening here. My gut was Lamar probably could have stayed in this football game, but there was some resignation to that nothing good was coming out of that. So that's my gut, and I don't know anything. I'm a dumb guy sitting on a couch. I'm a spoiled fan, as Kyle Hamilton would have described me. But that's what I have. KZ, what was going through your mind when Lamar Jackson didn't go back into the game?
My first thought was he tapped out.
You thought he took himself out.
Yeah, I did. It's the first time. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that that's what happened, and I don't know where the hammy came into it. I didn't see an issue where he was like favoring it. The drive before ended, and he went down, sat on the bench, and he kind of looked like he was out of it on the bench. Not out of it, like he was just like processing like what's going. Like he just didn't want to go back in the game, and that's what honestly, I hope I'm wrong 100%.
I
hope it
I
was.
almost refuse to believe that, KZ.
You asked.
I don't.
You asked
I don't.
my
I
honest
know. I
opinion.
appreciate that. I'm not.
You
Yeah.
asked my
I
honest
asked the
opinion.
question.
I'm not. I hope I am so wrong.
Yeah.
And it's one of those. And it was on the side of this is what, like you said, this is what's going on. We're not coming back and winning this game. Let's live the fight another day. I just never. I'm not accustomed to that Lamar. Like that's my only thing. Like I go back to that. It's like Lamar never wants to come out of a game.
I understand, and that's why I do think that I don't think they made up the hamstring. I think there's something there. I just don't know. My gut in that moment was whether he could play or not. There's just really no point right now. But I refuse to really engage too much on the idea that he kind of that's the word. That's the quit word. And until I have evidence of that, I would never suggest it. Andrew,
I didn't use the Q word.
Yeah, but the tap out and quit is the same thing. That's true. That's the same. Tap out and quit is the exact same thing. Stecca?
Yeah, it's definitely not where I was going. Honestly, Glenn, my thoughts are a little bit more big picture as they tend to be. It just makes me think maybe this is like one of those year from hell type of situations where everybody gets hurt and it's not going to go their way this year. They're going to have the 5-11 like they had 10 years ago. They've had fairly decent enough injury luck through this run where they've been really good and making runs in the playoffs. And maybe this is just a year where it's not going to happen that they even are able to get to the playoffs because this injury luck pops up sometimes. And that's a shame if it does go this way. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of season left. There's time for them to turn this around, but there's obviously no signs that they're going to turn it around or going to be able to quickly turn it around. So it does make me like zoom out a little bit and be like, man, it's a shame they haven't taken care of one of these runs the last few years because they might not get a chance this year.
It's a different conversation altogether. That's almost like a really meta conversation about I'm reflecting on my life as an old man, and I didn't.
Well,
spend
no,
enough,
I mean, I'm not going that far.
Enough time with my son, and I wish that.
No, but you get what I'm saying, though. Like, I'm not trying to get meta
asked
about
Andrew
it,
what he thought happened on an injury,
No,
and he was pining for days.
But that's where we're gonna go if it goes like this.
Well, if it goes like that, of course you're gonna have.
But it is. But it's like how many years in a row have they had the best team and they didn't accomplish what everybody thought they should have accomplished. Oh my God, they blocked the field goal. But I just but that's where it's going to go. If Andrew's right, it does go, not
I
right,
mean,
but if it
we saw this
does,
happen to the Niners last year,
These are
right?
yeah.
Like,
this is so next level that I'm just like
no,
I,
it's not even about being next level, Glenn. It's really just about like almost level setting. Like,
it's
okay,
not
what's
it's not it's two. We're doing this in week 4. Like in week
I'm not
4, we're doing the boy did they waste that. Like I love you and you know that, but like it's
I'm
we're just sort of saying that it's week 4, man. Like
I'm
that's
not giving up on this season whatsoever because none of these injuries, I mean, outside of Nnamdi Madubuike, I feel like we're led to believe, and Nate Wiggins didn't look too great either, but none of these seem like injuries that are, in 2015, it felt like every guy was going down with a knee injury and then they were done for the year. This is if they were truly trying to protect Lamar, which they're probably there could be some truth to that. Then if he's out there next week, then I think it's game on. Like it's I think this is a really really ugly start to the year. 1-3 is awful, but like if they're not losing too many guys long term, I think everything is still right there. But there's obviously I think the defense is the big takeaway from today because even when Roquan and Marlon and Wiggins were on the field, they couldn't stop anything. So
let me try to go to Tyus about the Lamar thing specifically. I want to reset that question. When you saw it, what went through your mind?
Honestly, I wasn't sure what the move was. I think it was just more of just protecting him. If it was something that was maybe lingering throughout the game where he probably felt it, but it wasn't nothing serious, and he tried to, go through the game. But then it was like, yeah, let's not push nothing. We still got the rest of the season to go ahead, and we need him. Especially
Yeah.
trying to make a run. That's just my guess. It's like the game is out of reach. Nobody is moving in the right direction when it comes to progression of the offense and defense. And it's no reason to trying to get Lamar out here hurt. So
That's
that's kind of
that's the feeling essentially that I had in that moment. That's essentially what the feeling was that I had right then. And I also thought about all of the times past and all of the friends that I had, and I just really reflected big picture on my life and what I've made of it over the years.
amen.
Andrew and I having, having beers together on the beach one day when we're 74 and thinking about
you laugh, man, but I'm not saying they don't have a chance to come, to flip this around this year. It's just you start to see the way these things roll in the NFL these days. Like I said, it
yeah,
happened to the Niners last year. It can happen to any teams where just the injury luck just kind of turns on you
I
pretty
have no
quickly, and
there's no doubt that
it just has
that's
a chance to
possible.
snowball, and it's a little scary, is all.
That's possible that it can snowball.
Especially now that, like there's no baseball to watch anymore unless
You're
you're,
just
not
really
an Orioles fan.
you're
It's
just
like
really in
I,
it. You're
I
going
kind of just
through
want
it.
something else to
Yeah.
I
watch,
think
man.
Andrew's just
Astros
going
just got
through it.
eliminated too, so there's
Oh
no
man,
baseball out this way either.
we're hugging it out right
The
now.
playoffs start tomorrow. What are you
We're
all
hug,
talking about?
we're hugging it out. That's what we're doing.
Jeez.
Hey, if you're feeling sluggish, and we all are, unfocused or not like yourself, it could be low testosterone. We all need to get out to Game Day Men's Health. They specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Call Game Day Men's Health, Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. Columbia, 443-266-3505, or Frederick, 240-931-3717, or visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Ask them about a complimentary testosterone test. Griffin, I'm assigning you to do a welfare check on Rita because I don't know what's going on. Rita definitely asked a little while ago if we could start. She asked if we could start at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And yet here we are at the end of the fourth quarter, and
So
we
did I.
can't find her. I'm a
I
little
asked
but
at
you.
half.
I
I
know,
asked at
but you all
halftime.
showed up. Rita hasn't. I'm a little bit worried about Rita and whether or not this might have broken her. Whether or not she just said, "I can't do it," which is what I'm
Probably
worried
at a
about.
bar somewhere hot, talking
Oh,
with everybody, just
trying to work through.
pissed off at the world.
There's probably an amount of that.
Yeah.
All right, Tyus, I'm going to introduce you to a friend of ours, and I'm going to let him come on, and I'm going to let him say his piece, and then we're going to talk about it because I know what he's going to say. Because if you think KZ has had it out for someone, our friend Ron who is a regular, has had it out for the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens since I believe the day after they won the Super Bowl in New Orleans in 2013.
I could see it in his face.
Yeah.
It looked like it got to you.
I'm trying to be respectful here. Hi, Tyus, big fan. Thank you for what you did for the organization.
Appreciate
It's
you,
good
man.
to see you all, guys. I'm not depressed. Like, I'm just like at a point where like I hate
Oh,
this.
it's somehow worse. Like
Yeah,
this is
it's
this. It feels like you're about to go to where Andrew is, where we're just
part of
looking
me.
back on life and remembering what was.
Yeah, I mean, just like with Mark Turgeon with the Terps, like there was a point where I was actually rooting against the team because I felt like a change was needed. I don't, as a fan, you should never root against your team, but I'm just like at the point where like I don't want the injuries to be used as an excuse late in the season for like I didn't agree with extending John Harbaugh. That's just my opinion. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. I think John Harbaugh deserves to go in the Ring of Honor. I think he did a lot of nice things for the organization. We've been a winning team. I get all of that. But at some point in time, you have to move on. Okay. Lamar is in the prime of his career, and I don't see the changes that you have to make in order to beat a Patrick Mahomes and a Josh Allen, maybe even both of them, to win a Super Bowl and or get to a Super Bowl at least. I didn't agree with it this offseason. I see the same things. Yeah, sure, the defense is atrocious. I get that. And that's probably the biggest problem. But I'm just at a point right now where like the schedule softens up. Yes, the defense, we have a lot of injuries. I still think the Ravens are going to make the playoffs. I still believe that will happen. I just don't see I'm not a I don't believe in the coach, and I don't know how to fix that in my head. Like I'm still gonna watch the games because I have no life. There's nothing else I could do. I could play with my kids, of course, but like there's nothing else I could do. But I don't see us winning a championship with this coach. I think Lamar can win a championship with a different coach, but maybe I'm being negative, and I wish he could prove me wrong, Glenn. But I haven't been proven wrong for a long time here.
Buddy, I love you.
All
First
right.
of all,
You know I love you too.
You
I'm
know
trying
I
to be
love
respectful. Though. I have to be
I
respectful because
appreciate
right.
everything you just said.
I'm personally disappointed in Ron.
Oh, you wanted more.
You
Hell
wanted
out of,
more?
yeah, you wanted.
Well, you know where I
It's
am on
okay.
this, Ron.
Rita's here. It's
Oh yeah,
okay.
You know where
Rita
Rita
might be
is
able to
here.
Ron, you and I are spirit animals with this, and I'm, you know, I just I have the same fear when it's all said and done, no matter when this season ends and where it goes,
Mm-hmm.
that the injuries are going to become the crutch that keeps the coach here.
All right, let's get to that. Let's stop. Let's stop for a second. Rita, first of all, are you okay? Can you
Yeah, I'm
blink twice if you...
I'm inebriated.
Oh God. Oh
That'll work.
God.
Okay.
Well, let's see how this goes. Rita.
Hey, everybody on mute. Rita, go.
Go ahead.
Now, why would you do that, KZ? Because I'm gonna say some things I probably not. Listen, it's all funny to me as far as I'm concerned. It's fucking hilarious. If they don't give a fuck, why should I give a fuck? I don't care. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Why would
That's
y'all?
it.
Why would you mute yourself? Do you want to have dialogue or do you just want me to rant? Because if you want me to rant, I will.
We've been waiting for this, Rita.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. That's cool. We can do that. We can. If you want me to do that, we can do that. Listen, these motherfuckers quit. they don't care. I don't care either. If they don't care, then I don't care. So that's where I'm at with it. I mean, maybe Lamar does have a hamstring injury. I don't know, but he looked fine out there doing post game. He was saying hello to everybody. Maybe Roquan is fine. I mean, does have an injury. Marlon probably got an injury from his feelings because Marlon was getting his ass beat like he been getting for the last 4 weeks. So there's that. So my thing is that, I just think this team is a bunch of quitters. That's where I stand with that. And that's where I'm at. I understand this is a physical football game. I do. I'm not sitting here saying, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. I think that these motherfuckers quit. So if they're going to quit, so am I. I'm going to quit too. I'm going to go. Listen, sports has not been my friend this year. Nobody likes me. So I'm not going to like anybody back. Okay? I'm not going to like anybody. Fuck the Ravens, fuck the Gators, fuck the Orioles. Everybody can kiss my ass. Okay? I'm going to find something to do on these Saturdays and these Sundays. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find something else with myself to do. I'm not watching no MLB playoffs because they can kiss my ass. I'm not watching that fucking Gators and Texas game. I know this is about the Ravens. I'm just telling you what I'm going through. This is my therapy. happy right now. Since you wanted me to fucking go off on a rant, this is what I'm going to do. Okay? So I'm not watching Gators to Texas. I'm not watching the fucking Ravens next week with the Texans. I'm going to watch it because I feel like I have to talk to y'all about it, but I'm not going to watch it with any emotion. Like, I am now emotionless and I'm out of this. We're out of this. I'm just simply here so I can get my money from PressBox on a weekly basis. That's literally the fuck it. That's it. Okay, I don't have nothing else to say because my phone going to die in probably like 10 minutes. I don't know what else y'all want me to say. If you want me to sit here and break down the film, I'm not about to do all of that. Y'all saw the same thing that I saw. These motherfuckers quit. And I was going to use the N-word, but I remember that I do have some coof. I have coof. I do. I'm not that drunk. I have coof. Okay? They quit. Quitters. Bunch of fucking quitters.
Appreciate you, Reeta.
I had done everything in my power. We had danced around that word. We had danced
Well, you
right
can't
all
say
around
it.
that
You
word.
say it, then you can't say it, friend. You can't say
Oh
it.
no, I'm not saying the other word. I meant the Q word. I wasn't saying.
Well,
I
then
wasn't.
I'll say it for you. I say, if nobody wants to speak, I know KZ said it before I got here. Okay,
I didn't. I was trying to be respectful, and I used the
I'm
word.
not. I used.
Wait.
If they're going to be
Yeah.
disrespectful to us, KZ, why should we be disrespectful to them?
I don't disagree. I used the tapped out word.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's cool. I'm calling them quitters. Until they prove me differently, they're a bunch of fucking quitters. All of them. All of them. Quitters. Quitter. I ain't that fucking drunk. I know how to spell that. Know how to spell that, buddy.
Not sure where we go from here. Honestly, I really
don't go anywhere from here.
Don't go anywhere.
Same
Keep
way
going.
the
Let her
Ravens
go.
can't go nowhere from here but up. You can't go nowhere but up from here. You can't.
I got it. Apparently, this is from Gianna Hahn. She says that Lamar Jackson walked into the locker room hobbling a bit, and Nate Wiggins is in a sling. So there's your update.
So a shitty defense got worse. Great.
Yeah. Well, I mean that obviously looked really bad. I'm just gonna entertain it because it's gonna come up, and it's already come up in the comments. I know that inevitably the question look, we're going to do the fire the coach thing. We're going to do the fire the coach thing. I've already said my piece about Zach Orr. I think Zach Orr should be on the chopping block at this moment. And I'm not saying that I'm rooting for it or that I just think that's the way that it works. Somebody has to coach the football team. This is the difficulty when we say these things. And I will make the comparison to baseball. It's like earlier this year, we'll just fire Brandon Hyde. That's fine. But then you're not doing anything. An interim coach has never won a Super Bowl. It doesn't work that way. Interim coaches don't fix your problems. You need to have a head coach. Now, I get it. I understand why everybody thinks right now, Ron, you're not alone. KZ, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that think that at this point you can't do it with John Harbaugh. And I get it. And trust me, the way things are trending, that's going to play out. That's going to happen. I don't have to tell you anymore. But this just do it in week 4 to make everybody feel better thing, now I've got my pound of flesh so I feel good, that doesn't win you a Super Bowl.
But it makes me feel better.
Okay, they're not winning no Super Bowl, Glenn.
But Rita, they can't say that. You can't ask a professional organization to walk in today and say, it's week 4, we can't win the Super Bowl, so let's just make everybody happy.
I don't disagree with that. I agree with the fact that you probably got to see this through. I want us to just act like this. Hey, let's get this. Are they playoffs?
Say diddly poo for me. Say diddly poo. We didn't do diddly poo.
No, whoop-de-doo is what we say around here. Whoop-de-doo.
What I was waiting for, Rhea.
Whoop-de-doo. That's what we're going to say around here. And do, D-E-W, whoop-de-doo. Okay? That's what we're going to say around here. Because at the end of the day, I'm not suggesting John Harbaugh should get fired. But what I'm suggesting is that we get off this Super Bowl train, Bubba. The Super Bowl train is over, Bubba. It's not fucking happening. Enjoy whatever is left. Whatever you can salvage of this season, they quit. They are quitters. Ain't nobody that went to a Super Bowl quit. I don't give a fuck what happened. They didn't quit. That's what I do know. That's what it is.
You might very well be right about that, and I would lean towards that at this moment. Maybe not the quit part. I'm not going to be the guy
Okay,
that
well,
said they
I said
quit.
it. Nobody
I'm going to say a lot of.
all
I use the word.
again.
I use the word
Rita
gutless. I
is
use.
the only person that said they quit. Rita,
KZ basically
not
did.
Glenn, not
KZ
KZ,
basically did.
nobody else. I said that they're quitters because they are. They're
Yeah,
quitters.
Rita, you've missed an adventurous. KZ essentially said they quit. Andrew was being introspective about life. Like Andrew, like he's in such a dark place that he's looking back from the
Andrew,
end.
me and you. What we gonna do next week, Andrew? Instead of watch football, what we gonna do, friend?
Hey, I have Premier League games to watch. I got that as my backup, so I should be
I
good.
can't do the soccer, friend. I can't do that.
Just looking for a hobby. Someone invite Rita to do something.
Hey, the weather will start cooling down soon. You guys will have that nice fall crisp in the air. You can go apple
I don't like
picking.
fall. I'm a summer girl. Next.
You can come down to Houston, Rita. Come hang with the boys for a little bit.
Thank you, Tyus. I might have to come hang out with you, friend, because clearly I don't have nothing else to do on Sundays. Because if these people go quit, then I feel like I should do the same thing. That's all I'm saying.
There you go. From John Harbaugh, he said they coached better and they played better. I agree. Are we good now? We can agree with John Harbaugh.
He said what?
I agree. He said they coached better and they played better. And
Oh God.
I thoroughly agree with him. I do think that's the case. Look, I understand you're going to want John Harbaugh fired. If this continues, John Harbaugh's not going to be the coach. I can promise you that if this continues. But the
problem, Glenn, I think the schedule is soft enough, even with the injuries, where I don't think it will continue. You think they're going to lose?
Well, if the defense is like this, they're going to lose lots of games. If the defense is this, they're not beating anyone.
Well, then I'll say
we still haven't had a John Harbaugh special yet.
Okay.
We haven't lost a game that we're favored by 14 points. I mean, that's coming.
Hang on, this
year.
is relevant. John Harbaugh said he doesn't have an update on Lamar Jackson's hamstring injury or the seriousness of other injuries, but no season enders.
Oh, great.
So there's that. Well, I mean, to be fair, if that would be noteworthy about Nate Wiggins in particular, because that looked bad enough that that's
fair.
That could be. So that would be noteworthy if that's true about Nate Wiggins. Ron, I understand what you're saying. I think the defense is that bad that it could go that route. And I guess what I'm saying is one way or the other. Mm-hmm. If what your specific fear, and this is such a weird fear, the fear that I get from a lot of people, it's a weird fear of, well, they're just going to figure out a way to win enough games, and it'll be just enough that they choose not to make a move. I think we're getting really meta when we have those conversations, and like the problem isn't if they win games, right? Like they can win games with that. They can win games with an interim coach. The problem is going to be, are they competing for something that matters? And I do think that's the way that John Harbaugh is going to be judged when this year, whenever it comes to it, whether that's because they go into a full-on collapse and this is a free fall, or whether they do somehow put the pieces back together, they're competitive, and it just doesn't work out in the playoffs. I do believe that it's going to be judged. They're not going to move the goalposts to judge that.
Do you think Harbaugh has lost the locker room yet?
Tyus?
Or we're not there yet?
My bad. I was over here trying to listen to Coach Harbaugh talk on ESPN, but no, I don't think he's lost the locker room. I think it's just more figuring everything out, because I've been in this situation before where we wasn't at our best. We was losing. And I think one thing that, from my experience, that Coach Harbaugh does well is like he keeps everybody encouraged. He also keeps it real. And we all know that at the end of the day, like, once this game is over with, once we hit Monday or Tuesday, like, we got to move on to the next game. Simple as that. Like, I mean, we can't go back to 325 on my end and play Kansas City again. Like, it's over with. Now we got the Texans up next, and it's time to go to work. And that's what's always been the thing with Harbaugh, and that's what you need, honestly, from, like Glenn said, like, you need your head coach to be there and understanding, like, hey, we're in a rough situation. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, this is reality. We're rough. We missed a lot of people, and a lot of guys is hurt, but we still got a job to do, and we are still the Ravens, and we're going to figure this out. And regardless if it's true or not, whatever the case may be, that's what you need from your head coach is to allow those players to know that, hey, we're still in this and we just got to take it a week at a time and just go from there. Like we can't think about no Super Bowl. We can't think about no playoffs. We can't think about no division championship. None of that stuff. All we can do is just focus on next week against the Texans, and then from there just keep chopping wood. So that's always been my mentality.
Tyus, let me ask you, this is something that people talk about all the time. If you do, let's just say, and again, I'm not rooting for it, but let's say the Ravens decided this week we need to make a change at defensive coordinator. What
Okay.
does that do? Because people have theories, right? That like, it can be a wake up call to a team. It can be a what tangibly does that do when you do something that drastic in the middle of a season?
I mean, it's hard for me to even answer that question because I've
You
never
never had it
been in
happen,
that
right?
situation. So I've been blessed and I have to go through that. But I would think just through my experience and even talking with guys, especially like when I was with Chubb, this past year in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
like just him going through, a defensive coordinator, to a new one. It was just an adjustment, not only for the culture, but just developing that trust within the defensive coordinator, getting everybody back on board. Because I mean, if you at that place and you pretty much fire your defensive coordinator, you pretty much just lost the whole room. Everybody is on their own, trying to make a check, and that's pretty much the mentality when it comes to that room. So now you got to figure out who the next guy is going to be, what he's talking about. Do you actually believe him? Does he have some type of credibility, some type of whatever to make you believe that something can turn around with this? And I mean, of course, as a player, you go out there and do your job, but the results is going to have to show up quick. Simple as that. So, I mean, if that was the case where they did let him go, I'm sure that it wouldn't be the easiest transition at all. And there'll definitely be a rough patch moving forward for the next few games just to figure out your identity as a defense. And then from there, if you start seeing those changes, then great. If not, I mean, you just gonna continue on this road of trying to figure out how to win a game each week.
The best place to watch every game, spend every game day, and watch every big fight is inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. That's a better way for you to spend maybe a football day, is just watch all the games and be emotionless, Rita. That could be your plan, perhaps moving forward. Sports and Social Live Casino and Hotel. Ron, go ahead. You can ask Tyus a question.
So, Tyus, I think you gave a very good answer. I think, look, I'm not there during the week. You were there during the week. So I defer to what you're saying about Harbs, the messaging. I got it. That's fair. My question is on game day, Tyus. So I'm not talking about during the week. I get it. What Harbaugh can do before the week, during the week, during the game. I'm asking on game day. Is it fair from your perspective, and if you can't divulge, that's fine. I'm just trying to be fair here. I only watch the games on TV. I can only go by what I see. What does Harbaugh do on game? He lets the offensive coordinator. He defers to his coordinators. Okay, so I'm assuming the head coach on game day. He has the clock management. He has the challenges. He has to make the decisions with the clock management, the challenges going forward on fourth. I'm sure he does. He does say in Todd Monken's ear, "Go for it, don't go for it." Besides those things, are there other things? What does John Harbaugh do on game day?
I mean, on game day, it's kind of the same where he's kind of moving around, checking the energy, talking to guys, you know, getting them fired up, or just making sure the vibe is good within all of your players. Um, you don't really speak too much just because you coming in, you preparing, you trying to get ready for the game, you warming up and all of that. So you don't really see him too much until you really get inside of the locker room right before we run out of the tunnel, and that's pretty much where you'll see where his head is, where the energy is at within the team. And from there, he's just going to say his words. He's going to make sure everybody's fired up, ready to go. And then from there, he's going to allow his leaders to talk and, get those guys going. And I mean, he kind of just keeps it simple as that, knowing that as a head coach, you want to check the energy, make sure everything is good within the team on game days. And then from there, the players is the players. They're going to be the ones playing. and he acknowledges that. And he also, I know he always say, he's just proud, to be able to get on the field and, coach us, for the week. So, I mean, hearing those words is always a good thing, especially, being in the case of going through this rough patch, but then figuring it out. So in ways you understand the game, you understand the culture, and which is very important. And from there, you just kind of go out there and play football. So that's pretty much what game days is like for Coach Harbaugh.
And Tyus, do you believe, just really quick, Tyus, do you believe if the ball isn't being run, do you believe John Harbaugh is telling Todd Monken, I think we should run the ball here? Do you think he does that enough? Or do you just think he just like, oh, hey, Todd, just keep doing I'm just saying, do you think that it, in your, maybe I'm asking too many questions because I'm not there. I'm just watching the games. I'm just saying, do you think as the head coach, he does that enough in your opinion?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I'm a defensive guy, so I just mind my business on my side, and I'm like you. I'm on the bench looking out on the field like,
I got you.
hey, what's going on? What's going on with
Why
the
isn't
offense?
Derrick
Not
Henry in
running
the
the
game right now?
ball.
Oh, yeah.
Why
You know what I'm
isn't Derrick
saying?
Henry in the game on 4th and 1? Okay. No.
Hey, I don't know.
Well,
I'm just here to do my job, play my position,
I got you.
and get off the field and
Get
get
the
the
sheet. He's
offensive
like
ball.
Rita. You just got to get that check. That's
oh
Thank you.
man,
Thank you for entertaining that, Tyus. You're a good man. Thank you.
No, you good, you good.
I do want to say like this. So we've seen this type of adversity before, obviously in 2012, where um you guys remember the Broncos game and the Texans game. They didn't, we were just like, okay, we're over this,
Yeah,
right?
the season was over. I mean, it was pointless.
We thought we thought, right? And then
Yeah.
they ended up winning the Super Bowl. And also canning Cameron mid-season. That was another thing that happened. So there was a lot of adversity. And then, oh, by the way, the bye week stage,
Yeah, the mutiny, right? The alleged
the
mutiny.
mutiny that happened. So we know that there's things that that happened, and essentially they won the Super Bowl, right? And so we get that, like, okay, we've seen this type of things before when it comes to the Ravens. I'm trying to turn the light on. When it comes to the Ravens, um, uh, what feels different though about this in comparison to 2012 is the defense has just never found their way. I know that in the second half of the season they somehow got better or whatever, but then now we're right back to where we started in having the conversation from last year, which feels like nobody has learned anything, right? So my thing is like I'm trying to find perspective in this, but it's really hard for me to do that. Like, this offense has so many weapons, and yet we sit here like they scored 13 points. Like, and I with Lamar Jackson, it's very hard for me to understand that. And I understand that he didn't play the full 4 quarters. I'm just making a point that it's very hard for me to understand how that is even possible. And that's when you add that with how this defense has played, whether you think that it's the players or whether you think that it's the defensive coordinator, it's just a recipe for disaster. Now, here's the thing. We got to be careful what we wish for. I'm not happy with the Ravens right now. And I do think that at some point you're going to have to figure out where you're going to go in a different direction, whether it be a coordinator situation, whether it be a head coach situation. But you got to be careful what you ask for, because the next guy that comes up might not be the guy that you think is going to solve all the problems. So I really do try to be cognizant of my feelings versus my logic in terms of what it is that this team should be doing versus like where they should be. Doesn't mean that I don't think that at some point the message doesn't get stale and that Harbaugh might have to figure out and get his little cushy front office job. I'm just saying that now you're in a position where you have to figure out who the person that's going to replace him is going to be, and it got to be a home run. This is a franchise that's only had 3 head coaches in 30 years. They pride themselves on having stability, consistency. So the next guy got to be the same way, and that's just something that we got to think about.
Rita, I want to come back to that because you're spot on in so much there. I do want to react. I do appreciate that Kyle Hamilton apparently started his press conferences by apologizing to the fans.
It's too
I,
late. He
I,
shouldn't have said it to begin
it
with.
was it was
It's too late.
absolutely it was
And look,
nonsense.
he's
It
24
was
years old, so I do
right,
want to.
and
I
that's
want us
where
to give him some grace. I do
yeah
want us to give that young man some grace because
yeah.
I do think that he was just probably tired of hearing. The problem that I had with that, Glenn, and I'm gonna let you get back to that, is that I feel personally that what they were saying inside the walls was rubbing off on them.
I can understand why you'd be worried about that. I think that's fair. That like
So if they're saying
they
that inside the walls,
right. They
then
didn't
I got a
take it
problem with
seriously
that.
enough. Right.
Yeah.
That what you're worried about is that internally they were not taking it serious enough how
Yes.
bad it was through
Yes.
3 weeks, and it was just going to be fine
And
because
that's a
hey, we
projection.
went through
Saying that
that.
we're cool.
And I understand that feeling. I also don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it was a very, very dumb thing to say. You should be pissed off, man. Like, no one should ever be happy or should think that it's somebody else's fault when things aren't going well. Like, you don't need to say, I think we should all be fired or something like that. You can be, if you believe in Zach Orr, and that's, I think, where that started with Kyle Hamilton, then you can say that. I have no issue with that. But that's a loser to say, well, the problem is your expectations. Wait, like, what? Like, well, what are your expectations as a player? Like, what is this good enough?
You.
Like, is this?
And thank you. Shouldn't we want to be spoiled? This is a team that many people thought was going to be a Super Bowl contender.
Right.
And you're not living up to the expectations. So whose fault is that? Us? Are we the problem? I don't think we're the problem here.
I don't.
You're 31 and 32 and running past defense, bro.
It's not good enough. Plain and simple. It has nothing to do with what the fans think. Everybody should think that.
Fucking awful. It's not even not good enough. It fucking stinks. I would rather deal with not good.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Stinks.
I get it. I completely get it. So I just want to react to that for a second. And I'm not surprised by it, as many of you in the comments, what you want is you want someone to yell and scream and say, fire John Harbaugh. This is the way that it works. We all live in this moment together. I went through it. I had to watch the game too. I know people that went down to Kansas City and spent their hard-earned money, and that's what they got for their hard-earned money was going to that. I understand that feeling. I will forever understand that feeling. I can't just say things to try to make you feel better. Like we live in this world where, like, the Ravens didn't win, but if somebody just says that John Harbaugh should be fired, then I'll feel better. And I'm never going to operate that way. You can say whatever you want to say. I don't care. What I'm saying is, practically speaking, it's wasted breath. They're not firing John Harbaugh today because imagine running an organization like that. Any organization. There are still 13 games to play, and the breathlessness with which we say, well, it's over. I understand why you feel that way because this is the evidence we have. I get it. Did anybody think, I don't want to do the revision. Hey, remember what happened in 2000? I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the old man yelling at a cloud. Good teams have terrible patches. It happens constantly. Do I feel confidence that this is going to get fixed? Not at all. But to abandon ship and say, we're going to start the offseason now is as stupid gets. It is as breathless, and we just want to feel better because we're mad that the team lost as it gets.
Especially the Ravens. I mean,
right?
I can understand if this was the Cleveland Browns.
No, this is just what they do.
Right? Anybody,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
To have a rich culture and to always be a Super Bowl contender every single year, I mean, it's tough to even do that.
I'm giving you that there might need to be changes, and we'll find out. My theory is that they don't want to do that for another 2 weeks, but there might be, and I would feel bad in a way. I don't know if this is Zach Orr's fault or not, but the defense is what it is, and that can't be ignored. I think there might need to be changes, and I would add to that if this continues the way that you all think it's going to continue, then John Harbaugh will end up being on the chopping block. That's the way that football works. Even the most beloved coaches of all time Bill Belichick accomplished much more than John Harbaugh and was axed. That's the way that it goes. But trying to end the season in week 4 because we all feel terrible, and I do understand. I feel terrible. My kids feel terrible. Nobody's happy. Well, I mean, in Kansas City, they're very happy, right? Like they're happier anyway than they were. Nobody's having a good time. But this is not the way that these things go just because we want it to go that way. Saying, let Chuck Pagano coach, and my God, I don't think there's a human on the planet that loves Chuck Pagano more than I do. I love Chuck Pagano. But just breathlessly saying, let Chuck Pagano coach the team is just saying, I know the name of one of the assistants on the staff. That's all you're doing. You are offering no thought to anything. You're just saying it to pacify yourself. And I'm not trying to fight with you because now I sound like Kyle Hamilton. And like I understand this isn't good enough. No one thinks it's good enough. I don't think. I mean, maybe we'll meet that person one day. It's not good enough. But that's not the way these things work. They don't fire the head coach in week 4. It doesn't happen that way. I get it. Maybe Mike McDaniel might get fired if they get housed by the Jets tomorrow because that's a prolonged issue that goes back some time. That's not the way that this works. You don't just start firing your head coaches saying, we want to start the offseason. We want to go ahead and get on to that. And doing that in week 4 is it's not just dumb, it's asinine. I just am bored right now, so I'm going to choose to light my house on fire so that I can feel something. That's what it is. So we'll talk about it. There'll be plenty to talk about moving forward. If they go turn around and lose at home to the Texans next week, we'll talk about it again. And at some point, you're going to wake up, and if they're 1-6, if they're 1-7, that conversation does become real. It becomes plausible. But it's not plausible at 1-3. Do you know who the favorite is? Andrew Steckheim certainly does. I'm sure knows. Do you know right now at all of the games that have gone on today, who is the betting favorite to win the AFC North?
I don't know offhand, but I would guess
you do.
It's still the Ravens. No, I don't, but I would say it's the Ravens. I'm
of
sure.
course, it's the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens at 1-3 are the betting favorite to win the AFC North.
Guess how much they're favored by against Houston next week.
That's probably something outlandish.
I knew what it was on the look-ahead line, but I haven't looked since the game ended.
Like 6.5, something like that.
It is. They're favored by 9.5.
Okay, so it didn't move because that's what it was before.
I'm taking them, by the way.
That's what it was before everything today. Like that was.
Can I lock in 9.5 now?
No, you're not allowed to lock in 9.5 now. You're not allowed to do that. But that's just the reality, and I get it. I know how you feel. What you're feeling is real. And you might ultimately be right that at the end of this, that's the way that this goes. But we're just saying it to say it or pretending like that's a viable option is absurd. Like, it's truly theater of the absurd. But I'll have the conversation. Like, I promise you, they lose a few more games, we can talk. Like, those of you that think because I won't scream fire the coach, that means that I think that the coach is doing a bang-up job because you created a world in which either you light the house on fire or you're evil. Like, you're anarchists, man. This isn't okay.
I just want to know. I want to know where all these people have been for the last 5 years.
Oh, well, there have been plenty of them. You're pretending like you are the only one. Stop it. You're pretending like that's
it's just a lot more of them now.
All right. Real quick, let me touch on a couple other things that have come up. And I will remind everybody that today's show is also brought to you by the Costas Inn. The all-new Costas Inn is now open in Timonium at the Grandstand. Everything you love about the original Costas Inn, with the only exception of they don't do steamed crabs. That's the case. What they don't do is steamed crabs. Everything else they do at the brand new Costas Inn. That's what it is. That's the way that it works. It's wonderful. We love everything on the menu. It's the Costas Inn. Go check them out at the Grandstand and, of course, the OG on North Point Boulevard. Jonathan, I don't know how to say this. You're a dumb person. And I'm sorry if you're a friend of Ken's. I don't mean to do that. Love you. You're wrong. I have not made a single excuse for John Harbaugh. You just want me to say, because it'll make you smile more, that I think that John Harbaugh should be fired today. I don't think that. because that's not how any of this works. Because again, the way that you operate a successful business is not to say, let's just light the business on fire. It doesn't work that way. Now, again, I don't think this is good enough, period, full stop. And John Harbaugh has to answer to that. But the idea of firing a coach after week 4 of an NFL season is what dumb people do. That's the way that it works. And you might be a wonderful person. I apologize for saying that you're a dumb person. This theory is dumb. And you're wrong factually. Factually. I haven't kissed anyone's ass. It hasn't happened, no matter how much you want that to be the case. It's not true. It's a pragmatic response. Tom, why can't we win with the so-called best roster in the league? Well, I think we can start to question whether or not we were right in assuming that before the season. I think a lot of us did get swept up in the roster and even said things like, well, we do have some questions about O-line depth. And I think those questions were fair and probably loud. We should have asked them louder than we were. And we got swept up in, boy, they went out and got Jair Alexander, who to this point hasn't helped in any way. And he might still very well help. I'm not trying to pretend like Jair Alexander, it's done and he stinks, but Jair Alexander hasn't helped the team, and we all got swept up in that. So I do think we got swept up in some of the excitement of that, and ultimately that hasn't been the case. I don't know that they're actually the best roster. Is Rita on to smoking now?
I am.
Yes. It's great. Can I ask a question?
I'm smoking because I need a stress reliever from the fucking Ravens.
Can I ask a question of everybody? And I really truthfully want to know everybody's answer. And I don't think that my question, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, makes a hill of beans difference, wins or losses. But how come Keaton Mitchell can't be active on game day? Like, this is an offensive weapon. And as much, I don't understand from what I saw in the preseason and everything that was said from the coaching staff about how great he's looked and how he's been healthy and everything we saw in the preseason of how explosive he is, how on game day the Ravens don't think that they need that type of explosive player and figure out a way how to use him.
It can come to a lot of things, whether that's his health and how he actually feels. It could be from numbers, where you have certain guys that's up who's going to be on offense, defense, and special teams. And it could be a case for him where, like Justice Hill is a special teams guy. He's a returner. He does all the things on 4 phases. So that just makes him more accessible to be able to play, each week compared to, him not maybe being on something and you have somebody that's on punt return or on kickoff return that can do that. So it's like a lot of that could be a numbers part where just overall we don't have any space. We can't let go of this certain type of guy because he plays on offense, but he also is on all 4 special teams, and we need somebody for this certain position because we don't have nobody else there. And I don't think that he can do it. So you're not going to let him go to make way for him. So, I mean, there's so many factors that can go into why he's playing. And I just know through learning from people that can always be the case where it's just a number thing, where you got certain people that's up and certain guys going to pick up their helmet and others is not.
I understand.
Not great on apparent, allegedly. Not great in special teams, not great in pass pro. You need defensive help. So it is a numbers game, I think, in that regard. I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm saying that that's what it is. And I want to apologize. I'm not going to apologize. The Ravens have forced me to smoke some hookah for the rest of this podcast. And I mean, and honestly, maybe from here on out, this is what I'm going to do, because I want to apologize to everybody. I meant what I said. I do think that they was quitters. I could have articulated that a little bit better. So now that I have this in front of me, I'm going to be a little bit more calm. I just think that Keaton Mitchell probably doesn't do what Harbaugh wants him to do when it comes to special teams, and that's what it is. And they need more defensive help than they do offensive help, and that's why he's not there. The problem is not Keaton Mitchell. The problem is that y'all don't run the fucking football. I know. Like, what are we doing here? They had 4 runs in the first half. The problem is
I
running,
just
not
point
running
this,
the
and I
football.
said,
Period.
and I agree. It's not the difference between wins and losses. It's just I know. I guess I'm speaking for the fans that I see online that wanted to address that. That this is a guy that from day one we were all excited about, and then he had the unfortunate injury, and he worked his way back, and missed a year and all that, but through the preseason, everything was like, oh, he's back to where he was. He's healthy again, blah, 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 blah.
Ken, I really do think that the answer is as simple, and nobody, because I think that
And it
I
could
think
be, and
the
I appreciate
I think
Tyus's
the
answer.
theory of, well, he's explosive and he could help isn't wrong. I think the practicality of what he's up against is Justice Hill is the guy that they really trust in pass protection for good reason. Whatever you feel about Justice Hill in pass protection, he's been outstanding. And so he's going to be active, and Rasheen Ali has won the spots in the special teams units. And so I just think it's really that simplistic of we can only have so many guys active, and those are the guys that are going to be active. But the theory of, hey, maybe you could use one more explosive playmaker, I hear it, right? Like, I hear it. I just don't think it's that. This is the conversation we have all the time where somebody says, maybe we should just let all the guys that are on the team be active on game day. And isn't it weird that we can't just let guys be active on? Why do we have to have inactives in football? Why does that make sense? Why couldn't we just have an IR and, if you can't play, you can go to the IR? These are all fair questions that are far more big picture than I'm capable of addressing. Maybe I need to start smoking hookah with Rita, and then we can start solving the world's problems in these situations and in these moments. I don't think anything more good is going to come out of this. I think we can pack it in for the week.
I have nothing else to add. I do not. If you guys want to just watch me for like the next 30 minutes, that's great. Other than that, the Ravens basically told us who they are. We just have to believe them
until proven otherwise. That's exactly what it is. Like this is their reality until they prove otherwise.
And again, perspective. And I tried to give it right when I came down, because sometimes you got to come down. When I came down, the perspective was when they won the Super Bowl, we saw some embarrassing losses in that year. It does feel different though. It feels different in the sense of like at least that defense was middle of the pack. This defense is not middle of the pack. And they're bad. They're really, really bad. And it's really unfair.
Hang on, Reed. I'm sorry. What does that mean? It felt like a grab. So if you don't see that, Mike Florio says, per source, who texts Lamar Jackson suffered a hamstring strain at the Chiefs. It, quote, felt like a grab, unquote. Tyus, can you explain that to me?
I would say in translation, like the lingo of a reach, like, oh, he's reaching,
Basic line. That's what they say.
Oh, okay.
Not tell the truth. And honestly, honestly, we all feel that way. I don't know if that's Lamar. I don't know if that's just the team just being like, hey, we're not gonna win this football game, so we're just gonna call it a day so he doesn't get hurt. But I knew that I could have told you that. Felt like a grab sounds like felt like a lie. Y'all, everybody want to prance around.
I think so. So I don't understand why you're acting that way, but reading this and knowing Florio, that's not what he's saying. He's saying no.
But he quoted it, so somebody else said it.
Right, but if it's coming from a source, that would just mean either that it's a source that is not with the Ravens would never say that to Mike Florio.
Right.
Even if it was true.
Somebody else is saying that.
Yeah, that just sounds like it kind of doesn't. It's like asking me what I think about it, right?
Right.
Like
This is true.
And again, for everybody that has ever the feelings about Florio, it's somebody that I've known for a long time. I don't think he would. I think that there's something that's lost in translation here.
Yeah, unless he's literally saying it felt like
he was.
I took it as that it felt like a grab of his hamstring.
That's what I think.
That's how I took
it's not a term that I've heard used before to describe.
Y'all ain't even see that. Y'all ain't even see that.
What?
Y'all ain't even see that. Y'all didn't even see nobody. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just a
weird. I didn't even see that. I'm going to take it as it was slang. Somebody using some slang. People respect Lamar too much for him to call him a liar. That's what to me. And look, we don't know how this went. He probably is hurt, but he probably could have played too. You know what I'm saying? We don't know the severity of how this went. I think that they said, "Hey, we getting our ass beat. Lamar, go ahead and sit your ass down. We're going to live to see another day," and that's
Right.
what it is.
Right. I think this was that was my theory, was that this was a bunch of people saying if Ronnie Stanley's not going to be in this game, there is absolutely zero reason for us to have Lamar Jackson in this game right now. And that's another problem that goes to the offensive line depth conversation, but it's just the sense that I had. The moment that Ronnie Stanley was out of this game and they were down big, if Lamar Jackson was dealing with anything, it sort of felt like we need to cut our losses in this.
Hey,
moment.
when is Emory Jones coming back? That's what we need to know.
I mean, maybe Emory Jones can solve all the problems. I don't know.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that dope bone
I hear you.
Probably not the best option. That's simply what I'm trying to say.
I understand.
Stanley is gonna be. I don't even know what's wrong with Ronnie Stanley. Quite frankly, don't know. So there's that.
If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. We will do it again, and we can all yell and scream. And,
are we sure about this? I mean,
I promise.
The end of it with smoking the hookah.
We might all go live to Rita's house next week, and we might all just sit around and smoke some hookah and try to do.
I feel like it would make everything much better.
It would be much more peaceful.
Say, look, we have zero expectations now. Let's just smoke or drink and then do it then. I'm not gonna have any more drunk rants because I can't do that with them anymore. I have now put myself all the way down to the floor when it comes to expecting anything. What's funny is I feel like after the bye, they do have a softer schedule, so they could absolutely make a run. But we don't know what Lamar's situation looks like, and we don't know what the other players being down looks like. So this is what I'm going to be doing for the next few weeks. I hope everybody is cool with that. And if you're not, I mean, that's cool too. I don't really give a fuck because the Ravens don't give a fuck. So there's that.
Rita, I'll do a show this week. Tyus, love you as always. Hope to see you.
Good news from today, guys.
Stop it. Nobody cares about it. We're doing Project Game Day, Griffin.
Orioles could get a good pick.
Griffin just wants to throw some tweets up on the screen. Get out of here.
Good job losing, Orioles. Good job.
Tyus, hope to see you, but hope not to see you. Know that. KZ Stecca, appreciate you. Griffin, thank you very much.
I'm really disappointed in KZ real quick. Just want to say, KZ, I want you to be back to where you are. Be back to where you are.
What do you want me to do? Before you got on, I just didn't.
You should have stayed there. But when I got there, you had calmed down already. I didn't expect you to be calm.
I'm sorry. I'll be. I'll. You and I will get back. We'll be cool.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate you and I love you.
We will see you next week.